who I partner with, about where I'm going and who I'm working with. So the type of work has changed, and also the way that I approach work has changed. And 5 years has given me the luxury of being able to be a little bit more selective and a little bit more choosy when it comes to work.
I think you're right. I was definitely the same when I started out. It was kind of like, I just want to work. I want people to pay me to do what I love to do. And you're right. You do end up taking on work that, while it's still a valuable learning experience, it's maybe work that you always knew wasn't really the right fit, or wasn't really
exactly
what it is. Yeah.
Now I'm assured that the people who I choose to partner with, we're on the same wavelength. I work really well with them, and things are easier from that kind of standpoint. I'm also now less afraid of making a stand when I need to make one. So what I mean by that is, last week, and well, it's still going on into this week a little bit, I cut ties with a company that I partnered with quite closely, because I feel like we no longer have the same value base. I have been so impressed watching Black Lives Matter and the call for diversity in terms of the people who I partner with. Everyone came out and made a statement almost instantly. I've been looking at the kinds of things that they share and the way that they speak about the importance of diversity. And I have just felt like this overwhelming love and validation from the people who I've chosen to work with. But there was this one partner, and they have said nothing. They've been very active on social media, but when it comes to issues around diversity, they have just been silent. No one has reached out to me. They haven't said anything. I mean, I love the work that I do with them so much that I got desperate enough to start internet stalking the key senior leaders of this company to just to see, clinging on to hope that they had maybe posted something that would validate how I felt about that. There was nothing. Crickets, absolute silence. You know, when I reflected on it, as a company, they are not very diverse anyway, and so that would probably be why they haven't made a statement. And I just decided to cut ties. That means saying goodbye to some money, which is of course sad, but I think it's worth it. I agonized over it, and I can't do it. I think I have to walk the walk, and it's not enough just to talk about things. And I just have to believe that there are better opportunities for me out there. I know that they will come in. I don't think I would have had the courage to do something like this 5 years ago, but things change. And I am fortunate to be in a position where that is an option for me, because I feel so strongly about it.
Well, and that just shows your strength of character as well. And you're right. I mean, part of it is building up a confidence, and it is getting to a point where, as you say, you're maybe in a position to turn away some work, but it's still really hard to do. And I think anytime you do something like that, it's a big decision. But, you know, as a company who doesn't go along with your core values, I think you've obviously made the right decision. You want to work with people who have the same values you do. And if somebody's just not taking any kind of a stand, then I can totally see why you made that call.
Yeah, it was sad, but it was time.
You know, you're seeing it happen a lot in every industry. And I've seen, from a photography side of it, I've seen some wedding photographers posting, you know, it happens everywhere, but the ones that I've seen so far have been from America, where they have posted about the Black Lives Matter movement, and actually had clients canceling with them because they felt, for whatever reasons the clients had. But the photographers have done a really good job by actually screenshotting the messages from the clients and saying, instead of giving you your deposit back, I'm donating it to one of the many causes associated with the movement. And I thought, that's amazing. That's really taking a stand and going, I don't need your work if you don't have the same values as me. I think that's great.
With me. Mm-hmm.
So that,
and so important, a great message.
it is. And I think it's unfortunate that that's something that needs to happen, but it does need to happen. And hopefully that will really get people thinking. And it does, it shows, you see people's true colors when things like this are going on in the world. You really see who are the good guys and who are the bad guys and who are the people that you want to be associated with. So good for you for sticking to your gut and for taking a stand. So on that note, we might as well start our chat about diversity and inclusion. So Dana has put together an amazing new web session. And I'm going to let her explain to you what it's all about, because she'll do a much better job than me. So tell us about your new program, Dana.
So remember when I said you have to do more than talk the talk? So I talk a lot about diversity and inclusion, but in the current landscape, I wanted to do a little bit more, right? I want to help people, because diversity and inclusion can be really difficult to talk about and can feel uncomfortable. And I think sometimes people say nothing because they are worried that they're going to say the wrong thing or that their intentions won't be taken very well. Cancel culture has become such a huge thing. Someone says something wrong, all of a sudden they're canceled, and there's all of this kind of backlash. And it can be really intimidating as a small business owner to try and navigate the waters of social media in a time like this. It can be worrisome. You don't want to do the wrong thing. And so I thought to myself, how can I help? And the idea basically came because I've been getting all of these private messages on social media saying, Dana, I wanted to reach out, but I wasn't sure how to reach out. And I want to say something, but I'm not sure what to say or how to say it. And I thought, what if I could help people find a way to figure out what they want to say and say that thing? And so I'm going to be doing a short session, an hour, just because I know people are really busy and they are busy running their businesses and creating their empires. I'm gearing it towards small businesses who have social media. And it's basically like a how-to guide for talking about diversity and inclusion, but I'm doing it in a really light-hearted and fun way. I think people will enjoy it because I'm doing it by showing the good, bad, and the ugly, or the good, the not so good, and the ugly. So I'm going to be using real-life social media posts by small businesses. Everyone is of a small businesses who I think are doing amazing things in terms of diversity and inclusion. Those who tried but maybe didn't get it quite right, and then we can have an amazing discussion about why they didn't. And then, of course, those who went very, very wrong. And I hope that by showcasing and highlighting these and by giving some kind of key points for how to approach the discussion, I'll be able to help people feel more confident in coming out and being supportive about diversity and inclusion. And I mean this beyond Black Lives Matter. It's June, it's Pride Month. I want to be looking at people's social media and seeing more diversity, more inclusivity. I always feel like when I'm making the decision to follow someone, I want to know what they stand for. Are you a person of family? Do you support diversity? Where are you in these discussions? And I feel like we could be doing more to showcase that on social media. And I want to help.
That all sounds amazing. And I think obviously with, you know, as you said, it's not just the Black Lives Matter, but it's also the LGBTQ plus community. There's so many different areas that are being underrepresented and or misrepresented. And I think you're right. You know, I do think there are some people that don't have good intentions, and that's fine, and they'll always be there. But I do think for the most part, people do have good intentions and they want to do better, but a lot of them are just a little bit stuck about how. So someone like yourself, who is so passionate about the diversity inclusion, but also has the training background as well. I mean, you're the perfect person to put on a course like that.
I think so. And I hope that people will attend and also enjoy it. I think it's a good giggle. When you look at some of the things people have done, there are some where you'll see immediately, like, I understand where you were going with that, but oh my goodness. Or some that will make you pause and say, I'm not sure how I feel about this. And all of this is really good discussion to have. I also want to talk a little bit in the session about if it goes wrong, because if it does go wrong, how you respond is so important in terms of the way your brand is perceived going forward and how you react as well. So I also get a chance to show some people who, they did something like a little bit, yeah. But then they recovered by their response to that little stumble. So that's also really important. And I want to just say, I don't know everything about diversity and inclusion. I am still learning, and I love that we are all learning together. So there are things where I have to pause and say, okay, I need to do a little bit more reading on this. So last week was Juneteenth, for example. I had heard about it very lightly, but I wasn't sure about the entire background. I did so much reading on it across the week, so much learning. I was reading people's social media about it, and I feel so much more equipped to discuss it now. Then last week, there was also all of this stuff about Aunt Jemima being on the syrup bottles. And for me, that was something I also had to stop and think a little bit about, just because when I was a little girl and going to the supermarket with my mom and we would see Aunt Jemima, I loved it because there weren't really many people of color on any brands. So in my little Dana mind, I was seeing Aunt Jemima as something positive because there was a brown face like my face on a product, and it was amazing. But being able to see other people's viewpoints and understand where they're coming from when they think about it and their experience is so crucial. So I wanted to be able to share some of that with people.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And I know I've already said to you, I can't wait for this to be set up, because you know, I really struggle with the kind of right way to approach some of these things. And I think you're right. It's easy to get caught up in this. I'm not quite sure what to say or how to say it, so I won't say anything, but that's wrong. And, you know, if there's one good thing that's come out of, there's lots of good things that are coming out of everybody talking about this stuff. But I think that's one key thing. People are realizing that not saying something is almost as bad, if not worse, than saying the wrong, you know, it's getting out there and taking a stance. And the fact that you've put something together in your presentation about what to do if you do say the wrong thing and you mess up a little bit, or you say something in the wrong way, because I think for most people, that's their number one fear.
Fear. So I'm like, let's combat the fear. You know, it might happen, but I truly think that if people approach this from a place of honesty, and that's one of the things that I will talk about, you really can't go wrong. I'm also going to share some of the personal, most meaningful messages that I got across the period. And lots of them were from people who didn't know what to say. And it literally starts with, Dana, I'm not sure what to say, but, and then something amazing comes out at the end of that is so, that just resonates. And it would be my pleasure to kind of share this with people, to give a framework for doing the best that you can in terms of diversity online.
No, that sounds great. And I haven't asked you about this yet. So this might be something that you're already including in your course. But I think another thing that I know I find difficult, and lots of other small business owners I've spoken to find difficult, is I want to start discussions on these things. These are things that I think are so important and are values of mine as well. But I worry sometimes in the way that the posts I share or the information I share, that it's making it about me. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. It's like, okay, I've bought some books and I've been doing some learning. I found some great podcasts and things, but I don't want my attentions to come across as I'm trying to gain something from this, but at the same time, I want to share the resources that I'm finding because they've really helped. And I think that I want to get the word out there. So I don't know if you have any tips for that, or if that's something you'll discuss in your session, but that's a tough one as well.
So I just want to say that I've